Hi!
Hey, we're back. We're back.
You see that Dave's trying to pick up some extra excitement, right? Because I'm always so excited to see you guys. Dave is bringing out his, it's infectious. I'm not mad at you though, honey, that's good. I want you to
once
be,
again, Marla's trying to take credit for even my attitude. That's so sweet.
I am absolutely taking credit for Dave's attitude. If it were not for me and my insistence on, this is a great segment too, testing every condition of your character, honey, I have refined you.
Well, that's not the segment, testing the conditions of my character.
No, it's unconditional love.
We're talking about unconditional love today, and it's the most important of the 3 foundational principles of our relationship. And those principles, once again, were true friendship, honest communication, and today we're talking about unconditional love. I think Marla wants to tell a story. She keeps saying that I have a story, the perfect setup, and she hasn't told me what that is.
But before I tell the story, I have to just address this because I know there's probably a small wee bit of jealousy if you're in Canada or on the East Coast or anywhere where it's really cold, even over in Europe. Everybody can get my space. It's about 88 degrees, and that is my pool that you see in the background, and I'm trying so hard to stay focused and not just jump in there and swim some laps.
So to that end, we're going to jump right into unconditional love. Marla, tell us your story.
Dave and I were high school sweethearts. You knew that. Unfortunate circumstance of my parents' divorce had us move away. I returned for a college reunion with a nice little package. I was 19 when I had Moniece, and I showed up in Huntsville, and Dave had not seen me because I had really been focusing on being a mom and the relationship that I had here. And I ran into his friend, and Dave came knocking around the door at about 10 o'clock that night. And it was just a long extended weekend visit for me, and we just started talking and catching up as friends. It was really good to see him. You know, he was still cute, and I was catching up on what was going on in his life. And then, you know, he helped me put the baby to sleep. Then we lit some candles, and then he said, you know what, let me talk to you about what's unconditional. Do you see?
Oh,
that's not what happened.
My goodness.
I'm kidding. We really just talked. There was nothing physical going on, and the next thing you know, it was sunrise. And I remember the feeling of, he's not trying to get anything here other than just back in touch. There was no judgment. You know, when you're a young mother, there's a lot of self-scrutiny, number one, that came with having a baby out of wedlock. That was a very hard experience in the way of my own growth and acceptance. And so I remember never just presenting what I had. It was no trying to, you know, get around it and
Well, let me give it my perspective. My perspective on the same time frame, the same event, or the series of events was this. First, I had to figure out, was she really interested in staying with the relationship that she had? And if so, you know, I was out of here. But she said, you know what, I don't think that's a relationship I want to be involved in for the rest of my life. And so I can kind of tell that she was trying to say, you know, is there still a possibility of you and I hooking up? The fact that I had the baby.
That's when Dave stepped in to become a marriage therapist or a relationship therapist.
Not really, honey.
Initially, you were helping me with my own, because we weren't really those kinds of friends. Initially, in my unstable state emotionally, Dave was trying to remind me of who I was and how I could deal best with the situation that I had found myself in, to heal it and to become a better me in my current relationship. That is the truth.
Okay, well, I was trying to remind her that she's a strong human being, and there's no circumstance or no event that your life can go through that would change who you actually are. And as I was saying that to her, discussing those things with her, I realized, well, you know what? She's still the exact same person. She had a baby. You know, can I deal with that? Of course. I came from the same similar type of family setup. My dad had 3 kids when he married my mom. So I kind of knew what blended families and how they kind of worked, and I wasn't afraid of it. That was my experience growing up as a child. So, you know, we just kind of talked and we realized we still loved each other.
Right.
Unconditional love.
And that freakum dress I was wearing had nothing to do with how I felt.
If I showed you what the freakum dresses looked like back then, it might not be so freakum today. But anyway, that kind of leads into
the question. Let's talk about our
from
question.
our survey.
If you are cheated on if you are the one who has been cheated on in the relationship,
Do you walk away?
Do you fix it or do you nix it? Do you just say, you know what, whatever, I'm out?
And I think we answered yes, but let me tell you why.
We answered fix it.
Fix it. Just like in the story when I talked to Marla that we just got through telling you about, I talked to Marla and I realized she's still the same person. So the reasons why I'm in love with Marla, or was in love with Marla at the time, hadn't changed.
Clearly he's not
and
anymore,
so
though. You heard that, right?
because the circumstances changed, my love hadn't changed because she's still the same person. So I think the same thing applies to this question.
And I think that for me, I have to look at, and this is an analogy that I've said to many of my friends, and I'll say it to you. If I presented you with $1 million, you, and a bag of gold coins, and we understand that the total sum value of this million are these coins equal $1 million, and you open it up and you're all excited, oh, I got $1 million, and you look at the first 500,000 coins and they have scratches and they're, scratched or disfigured or messed up in some way, but they still can spin. Would you say, you know what, oh, forget it. They're all icky. The first 500,000 have, marks on them, so get rid of the whole million. Who does that?
Right. And so to that end, I guess the answer to the question is you have to assess, number one, who that person is. And if at the heart level, at the soul level, you find value, it's always worth fixing.
You work on it. Everything worth having is worth working for. Absolutely. And marriage is absolutely, matter of fact, not only is it not an exception to the rule, it's the number one example of the rule. So we discussed our survey, and now it's still not too late for me to go swimming. It's still a beautiful day.
Before we go, you have to remind them what we're going to talk about next time.
I'm trying not to remind myself.
Next
You
time
say
we're
it, I
going
can't
to
do
talk
it.
about Britney Spears and what is wrong with her from the perspective of what's up with having kids when you're not ready.
Is she too young? Is it a chronological age issue, or is she just?
It might be an immaturity issue.
Is she just Britney, bitch? That's what she said. That's a quote. I did not make that up. Give me more.
Okay.
Give me more.
Marla and Dave,
Give me
relationship, CPR video blog. We'll see you next time.